G'day, I'm Paul. Volkswagen, they've killed the Allspace, which was the 7-seat version of the Tiguan, and replaced it with this. It is called the Tayron, so new name but similar concept. Basically a bigger version of the Tiguan with 7 seats, and primarily like a kid's 7-seat. This here is the top spec. It's called the 195 TSI R-Line. Now, in terms of pricing, just under 75 grand. So it is a big old chunk of change, but you are getting a lot of features and quite a lot of car as well, with one of my favorite engines as well. And despite the rain today, I'm keen to take it for a bit of a drive later on. So today we're going to do a detailed review of this car. If you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this review, you've got time codes on the screen. Or if you're on YouTube or watching on the telly, you've got chapters below. Hey, you in the market for a new car, whether it's a Tayron or anything else, scan the QR code on the screen. It's going to take you to our free buying service. We get fleet pricing through a stack of dealers around Australia. And think of it as a group buying service, because we buy so many cars each month. We can drive down the price. Doesn't cost you anything, the dealer pays our fee, and it allows us to stay impartial because, you know what, it doesn't really bother me which car you buy, we still get paid either way. Now let's talk about design. So on the design front, it looks pretty similar to the Tiguan. You'll notice when you look at it from certain angles, you can notice the extra size there as well, but for the most part it looks same as the Tiguan. One of the things that I love about this is all of this lights up. It is a really cool setup at night time, the front and the rear, so stands out a lot. So as it's driving towards you, you're like, what the hell is that? So it all sort of lights up really nicely. You've got the R logo just over here, and then piano black down the bottom here for your cooling. More piano black over here, so I've kind of gone to town on piano black. Full LED headlights with matrix LED functionality as well. Around the side here, given this is the sportier model, you're sitting on 20-inch alloy wheels, you've got a machined finish on the outside there, and then piano black on the inside, piano black on the wheel arches as well. Quite a sporty tyre too, so it'll be interesting to see how this performs in the wet. Another R logo up here with indicator and camera built into there as well. You've got no glass roof or anything like that, but you do get these roof rails built in. You've got privacy glass and also window blinds as well on the inside. And then come around to the back with me. Now the back is pretty clean in terms of badging. You've got full LED tail lights. You've also got Tayron across here, but nothing else that sort of indicates this is an R-Line or anything like that really. So sort of pretty smart looking setup. But let me know what you reckon about the pricing. Do you think it is on the expensive side? Do you want a hybrid instead of one of these? Let me know your thoughts down there. Okay, so we're inside the Tayron. This is what the key looks like. Lock, boot, unlock, and then on the back you've got the Volkswagen logo. It's a proximity key, and then you've got a push button start down here. I like this interior. It just it looks nice. You know, you've got buttons, you've got things that you need, but it looks high-end and premium and doesn't feel like they've cheaped out. Also, it doesn't feel like they've minimalized everything to a single screen. You still have this screen ahead of the driver. You've got a head-up display. You've got actual buttons now. They've got rid of the annoying capacitive touch things. So really nice place to be seated. In terms of touch points, nice and soft there. Soft on the doors as well. How soft are they? Well, we've got a durometer. We've tested the main surfaces in this cabin. If you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, there is a link in the description below. That's what the door slams. Door slam sounds like. Let me turn the ignition off, because that is a very loud and annoying beep. Here we go. Now let's talk about infotainment. So you've got this whopper of a screen, 15 inches in size. It's interesting, they've set it up so that the dashboard is quite high and the screen being big is sort of high but doesn't impede your vision. In a lot of cars like this where they have a big screen, it kind of impedes your vision, whereas here it's sort of really nicely sized, so you're still getting the benefits of a big screen without it sort of being in your eyesight as you're looking out the side of the car there. So functionality of the infotainment system is pretty good. What you'll find most of the time is if you're running smartphone mirroring, it fires up straight away when you're in the car, and then you just use that effectively. Outside of that, you do have inbuilt satellite navigation and a couple of other functions, but for the most part, you're going to be just using your smartphone mirroring. Swiping down from the top gets you access to some of these shortcuts. You can also customize those shortcuts as well as you go. So a few sort of different options there to pick from. In terms of the sound system, you've got a Harman Kardon sound system. The sound system's good, but not amazing. It does what it needs to do. You've got digital radio as well, but for the most part, you're probably just going to be streaming music or a podcast or something from your smartphone mirroring. Speaking of smartphone mirroring, this is what Apple CarPlay looks like. Look at the size of that. Nice big display, very fast and responsive. Did find that it drops out through toll gantries, so one of the annoying features of modern cars. I still can't explain why, but they just seem to drop out briefly when you go through a toll gantry, which is kind of annoying and a little bit frustrating. This is what Android Auto looks like. So similar to Apple CarPlay, you've got a big full screen integration there, nice and snappy. So yeah, very hard to complain. Screen ahead of the driver, so nice sharp display, just gives you critical information. You can sort of customize a couple of little bits and pieces there, but just gives you everything you need with a head-up display there as well. Now, in terms of parking, you've got front and rear parking sensors and a 360 camera. I'm going to turn the car on just to show you what that looks like. So, the quality is okay. It's just a bit sort of grainy and miserable, just like the weather outside. And then this is what the horn sounds like. Now, in terms of practicality in your connectivity, this is cool. So you've got this sort of tray up the top here to store things, but if you need to charge your phone, you kind of lift that out of the way. You've got 2 wireless phone chargers down here with USB-C ports. No air conditioning on those wireless phone chargers, which is a little bit annoying. Cup holders down through the middle here. This whole section comes out as well if you so desire. This is cool too. So it's a volume control, which is great, but then what you can do is press that and then it changes to a drive mode selector. And it's got a little sort of LCD on it as well. So really nice and innovative feature, I reckon. Center console here that is sort of big enough there with a 12 volt outlet. That slides forward as well, so you can use it as an armrest, and then also has variable height adjustment too. And let's have a look at the glove box. Yeah, that's nice and generous as well. On the comfort front, you've got dual zone automatic climate control. You've got heated and cooled seats. The seats are a little on the firmer side. I sort of find it a bit of a struggle to get a comfy position here, but you do get a massage function with seat memory as well. Steering offers both tilt and reach adjustment. And on our reach test, all of this stuff is easy to reach while you're driving. So second row, a little bit cramped back here. So you can see knee room is pretty tight. Toe room's great. Headroom's good as well. I do have my driver's seat sort of fairly far back, but I would have thought there'd be more room back here. I think they've moved it a little bit forward just to give the third row a bit more space, because you can slide this, but sort of won't go back any further than that. Back here, you've got another zone of climate control, air vents, a couple of USB-C outlets. You've got the center armrest here as well, which has a set of cup holders. Have a look at that. Oh, and then you've also got privacy blinds over here as well that go up and down. In addition to that, you've got heated seats for the outboard seats. You've got phone holders up here, map pockets as well. And then does the window go down all the way? So it's auto up and down. Let's have a look. Oh, fantastic. Now, what's the third row like? I reckon it's going to be kids only, but we'll give it a shot anyway. So you can slide this guy forward. Oh yeah, getting in a bit tricky. The things I do for video. All right, so yeah, it's pretty tight. If I lock this into position, you can see that legroom is somewhat at a premium down there. But yeah, this is obviously, if I'm an adult, I've had to move it that far forward. But I think if you're a kid, it would be fine back here. Still pretty sort of cramped. You do have sort of little pockets here on the side to store odds and ends, but no USB charging and no air vents back here either. So it's going to get just a little bit stuffy, I think. But, you've got this as an occasional use row if you do ever need to go, oh, I've got an extra couple of kids to carry, and I flick these up and away you go. So it's okay, but not amazing. So we'll have a look at the boot, see how much space there is back there. Now, let's have a little look in here. So you've got just over 300 litres worth behind the third row. It's actually not a bad little space. You can kind of put a couple of odds and ends, maybe a little suitcase in there. And then beneath the cargo floor, you've got space saver spare tyre. There's a subwoofer in there as well, plus your jack. If you do want to expand the space, you can drop the third row out of the way. Not overly intuitive, because you've got to then move the second row, but you have a little under 1,000 litres here. If you then want to drop the second row, you yank these things, and then that disappears as well. So then you actually have quite a flat floor and a stack of space in there. Before you hit the road, it's worth thinking about insurance. That's why we've partnered with Youi for this review. For insurance that's a bit more U-shaped, head to youi.com.au. Okay, we've just hit the road in the Tayron. Now, this is the Tayron R line, not the R. So don't get those confused. The R is the full fat, R line is like a dressed up version, but it still gets a pretty decent engine. So 2 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine, 195 kilowatts of power, which is what the 195 TSI means, and 400 newton meters of torque. Now it's mated to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. It's probably one of the things now, having spent a couple of weeks now with this car, not a huge fan of the transmission. It is just a little bit clunky at times, and they use these transmissions primarily for fuel economy benefits. They used to be a performance thing, but now it is primarily fuel economy. And what you'll notice is, you come to a stop, and then when you try and accelerate, it sort of is nothing, everything, and it's quite sort of elastic in the way that it moves. And I'm just not a huge fan of the way that it operates. But if you put that to one side, the rest of the package is quite smooth and really quite nice. And the big advantage of a dual clutch, if you put the sort of the funniness to one side, is when you nail it, it sort of gets up and moves pretty quickly and makes everything happen, which is precisely what you want from a car like this. Now, in terms of the driver aids, it's actually really good. This is, again, one of the things that, if you commit to buying a car from the Chinese market, a lot of them do not have well-calibrated ADAS systems. So it means that it's constantly beeping at you to concentrate, all the lane departures going off, and it's just doing all this random stuff. The Germans have really dialed this stuff in. They've focused on making sure that it works correctly, and as a result of that, it rarely ever does any annoying stuff, even though it has all of those features working in the background. They've just been properly tuned so you don't run into those problems. Now let's talk about fuel economy. So the claim is well under 10 litres per 100 Ks, but we're sitting on 9.7. Now that is primarily city driving, so as a city driving figure, that's not too bad. But given that you're sitting on 20-inch alloy wheels and this is a sportier spec of the car, it is going to consume just a little bit more than the more standard varieties of this. The other thing as well, on tyre noise, you do notice a fair bit of tyre noise that comes into the cabin on coarse chip surfaces. It's okay at sort of highway speeds on smooth stuff, but on coarser things, it can get a little drony inside the cabin. Now, we did put it up against our calibrated sound meter, and if you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, there is a link in the description below. Now, let's have a look at what the ride is like over our sine wave. So we do this at 130 k's an hour. It just gives us a good idea of what body control is like and how willing the car is to manage its vertical movements when you hit bumps. So here we go, we'll dial at 130. Yeah, that is sensational. They've done such a good job here. The ride in general is actually quite comfortable in and around town. It is a little on the firmer side, but that is the whole point of the R line. Gives you just a little bit of firmness to make it feel sportier than it actually is. Okay, bumpy road time. We do this at 90 k's an hour just to see what the ride is like. So this has adaptive damping. So here in the comfort setting, it's the smoothest it's going to be. There's a little bit of, it sounds like rack rattle or rattle from the suspension there as we hit some of these finer bumps. Here's our condensed sine wave. Yeah, you can hear it sort of knocking there a little bit from the suspension. I don't think it's coming from the steering. So yeah, not impressed with that. It definitely shouldn't be making that kind of noise as we traverse this stuff. Let's talk about drive modes. So you've got a whole litany here to pick from. So you can use this selector down here. Eco, comfort, sport, individual, off-road, snow. I've just dialed in sport mode. We're going to go for a lap of the ride and handling track here. We test all cars back to back in the same way. It is worth pointing out it is very wet out there at the moment, so I can't go too quickly, unfortunately, but it'll just give us a good idea of what the body feels like through some of these corners, because this is a sportier vehicle on fairly sporty tyres. A little bit of understeer there. Yeah, the track here, it's designed on purpose to have inconsistent surfaces to test things like stability controls as you're sort of moving through corners in the wet. So it is designed to do that on purpose. This car won't understeer if it's dry, or typically if it's wet either, but it is absolutely hauling. We're testing a Model Y L long range here. I'm able to go much faster in this car given that you've got sportier tyres, but it really is just calibrated here for corner tearing. And it's weird, for a 7-seat vehicle like this that's primarily focused at carrying passengers, it is doing a remarkably good job. given it is really quite wet out there, so it is surprising how much this thing is hauling ass. I wasn't expecting this. All right, here comes our back straight. I'll just roll onto the throttle here. There it goes. Nice. That is pulling along really nicely. This is a fantastic engine and just such a great combo with this whole package. It is, yeah, really impressive. Okay, so it is time to test the lane support systems. We do this at 70 k's an hour, so I'll set that just there. So we test in the 3 outer lanes here, just to see how willing it is to hold the lane. So it's all good there in that first lane. Jump over to the next lane. All right, it's grabbed it straight away. It's very much over to the left here instead of central, but it hasn't gone over the line and it's sort of correcting itself. All right, let's try the outermost lane. See what it's like up here. Okay, wait for that to go active. No, doesn't look like it's going to like the outermost lane here. So yeah, it's a pass in lane 1 and 2. Just based on my experience driving this on the freeway with these systems active, it tends to be pretty good there in terms of how willing it is to hold itself in the lane. Now, given everyone is rushing in to buy electric cars at the moment, there are really good deals to be had on vehicles like the Tayron. So if you do still want to get an internal combustion car that kind of just puts a smile on your face because it makes noise, make sure you scan the QR code on the screen. That'll connect you with our marketplace team who will try and get you the best deal humanly possible on one of these so you don't need to overspend. Okay, time to do a little bit of performance testing. So stuck this into sport mode with ESC Sport on because that engages launch control, which is kind of fun. So we're going to do a run from 0 to 100 and then all the way through to 120 to see what the overtaking time is like. So here we go. There's launch control. Nice. Put you back in the seat. There's 80, 90, 100, and 120. Far out. That absolutely moves. Very impressive. All right, let's have a look. So that is 0 to 100 in 6.29 seconds, which is nice and sharp. I think the official time is 6.1, and then 80 to 120 in 4.29 seconds. That's pretty reasonable as well. All right, let's go do a stop from 100. Now it is very wet out there, so the stopping distance isn't going to be amazing. All right, we'll see how we go anyway. All right, here we go. Oh, tell you what, it has just choked me. Yeah, when you slam the brakes on it, it grabs the seatbelt in. Okay, so that was 100 to 0 in 4.34 seconds and 50 meters. So yeah, it is very wet and greasy out there, unfortunately. But yeah, that's you know, it is what it is for this kind of weather. If you want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, there is a link in the description below. Right, let's see how fast it goes in reverse. Here we go. Oh. Rapid acceleration and then 31 k's an hour. So, Volkswagen Tayron, what do we think? Look, I think this spec is probably a little on the pricey side. It is expensive for what you're getting, and when I say what you're getting, it's a great car that, you know, does pretty much everything really well. But if you look at the rest of the competitors that are out there now, there is so much variety, and 75 grand gets you a lot of different car. They have just released the hybrid or the plug-in hybrid pricing for Tayron R-Line, and it really isn't that much more expensive than this either, and it comes with a fairly big 20 or so kilowatt hour battery, so it is a big step up in terms of value for money. So I'd probably have a look at that first, and if you did have your heart set on a Tayron, maybe go one spec down. You're still getting a lot of the bells and whistles, but you don't need to spend big bucks on that engine. So let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. Have you bought one of these? Have you had a look at one of these? I'm keen to see what you think. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. But until next time, take it easy.